So in this lesson, we'll learn about distant light. Distant light or sunlight is a parallel light from a distant source, and you can use this type of light to simulate sunlight or any sort of a distant light source with a parallel light beam. Now we have this interior scene that has this artificial white environment, and we want to add a sunlight to shine through the window. As always, we are using ACES workflow, so make sure you set it up correctly like we learned in the introduction section of the course. Now let's run the IPR and add an Arnold distant light. I'm just going to move the light so I can access it in my camera view. And the first thing about distant light is that its position does not matter and only its orientation determines its direction. For now, let's increase its exposure to around 6 so we can see how it works. We just want to give it a direction that allows the light to shine through, and this will give us this parallel sunlight-like lighting. Okay, now that we like the way the light enters the room, let's go to the Detail tab and enable Use Color Temperature, and let's use a warm value like 4500 to get a warmer light source like sun. Now we have a new attribute for distant light called angle, which can be considered like radius for the spotlight. Angle is the angular size of the light in degrees. As you increase the angle value, your shadows become diffuser. The sun's angular size is 0.5, and if you do that, you get a beautiful realistic soft shadow. Now let me draw a render region using shift and drag so we can quickly try different angle values. When set to 0, the shadows are sharp. Then if I increase the angle to 0.5, which is the sun's angular size, now shadows are really realistic and just a tad diffuser compared to the previous one, which makes them really realistic. Let's try the value of 2 for angle, and now as you can see they are becoming much diffuser. Okay, now that we have increased the angle value, we are going to get some noise at the shadow edges, so we need to increase the distant light samples to clean those up. Probably something like 4 would be enough, and let's just set the angle to 0.5. Now, as you know, Arnold is not a good option for these types of interior shots that rely on indirect lighting to achieve realistic results, because you need to increase your diffuse samples to more than 7 or 8, and that would mean really long render time. We talk about interior lighting later on in the course, but for now, let me show you a render with 4 camera samples and 10 diffuse samples. And here is our render. You notice even with 10 diffuse samples, it's hard to get a clean render, but the rest of the noise can be easily dealt with using Arnold Denoiser. Let's move on for now. We talk about all of this later on. So in this video, we talked about distant light or sunlight. See you in the next one.